It's been over 15 years since I last made this. And honestly, truthfully, I'm not even sure I still remember how to do this. I want to make bangers and mash, but I want to make sure the sausage is homemade. That's the best part. That's the most delicious part of the meal. But I haven't done this in so long, I'm a little nervous. I'm going to jack everything up. Let's see how it goes. So the way that I remember being taught is 4 parts lean to 1 part fat. I've got a 5-pound Boston butt and it's got a bone in it. So what I'm going to do is just trim around that bone. And the goal here is to render 4 pounds of that lean meat that we can use in the sausage recipe. You probably could use a boneless pork shoulder, should be fine in this recipe. And then I have this little chunk of bone, and this is going to be perfect actually. Probably going to pop this in the freezer for a brodo at some other point. Now back over to the meat. I do recall that this does need to be cut up pretty small because it runs through this tube into the grinder. And if the meat is too big, it's going to get stuck and it's going to clog everything up. So I'm just going to cut this into about 1-inch chunks. I'll pop it in a pan. And now for the fat portion of this recipe, I have a 1-pound pork belly. Now, obviously, it's not all fat, but the ratio here is going to be good of 4 parts lean to 1 part fat, considering the fat that's in the Boston butt as well. And just like in that Boston butt, we need to cut it up into small pieces. And I'm telling you what, the skin on this pork belly is really tough. So I had to cut through it pretty good. So make sure you pay attention. And because the meat's going to heat up in the grinder, I remember this, we always put it in the freezer and let it cool for like 15 to 20 minutes. Okay, now for the hog casing, which is obviously hog intestines. You can pick this up sometimes at a local butcher shop or online, which is exactly what I did. It's pretty inexpensive. Now, sausage has been around for centuries, and I love that they used every single part of the animal, including the intestines. But it is absolutely covered in salt, so I'm pretty sure that you've got to rinse it off in the inside and the outside. Yep, soak for 15 minutes. Let warm water run through it. Okay, perfect. Let's show you how to do this. So 5 pounds of sausage meat is going to render about 20 links that are about 4 ounces each. So we're going to need about 9 feet or so of the hog casing. We're going to put it in a bowl. We're just going to add in about 2 quarts of lukewarm water and let it sit for 15 to 20 minutes. After that time, let's go right over to the sink. Taking one individual hog casing, they're about 3 feet or so in length, just if you're curious. We're going to run cold water straight through it. This is going to get all the salt that's in the inside or any impurities that are in the middle to run straight through. Water will literally come out the other side just like this. Then just press everything through, repeat the process. When it's done, add it to a bowl. I know that's not the most beautiful looking thing in the world. Then we're going to fill it back up with fresh cold water, set it to the side until we're ready to stuff up. At this point, I need to assemble my grinder, and I have this attachment for my KitchenAid. So it starts with a little tube that screws in. You push in the grinder portion. It's got a blade that's going to cut everything up, and then there's a medium and a small size die. We're going to start with the medium one to kind of break everything down, and then we'll probably switch to that smaller one later. I'm going to screw it on to make sure everything's tight. Pull my pork out. It is really cold, and turn the speed down to low. Now, I remember this because if it goes too fast, it's going to shoot out everywhere. And just using a small handful, I'm going to push it in there. I have a pestle, which I'm going to try to force everything through and push it down in there. And then, oh my gosh, I've got sausage. This is amazing. This is this is awesome. And you're just going to have patience. This part can take 30 to 45 minutes to get all this meat through the grinder. But once it is all through it, I'm just going to transfer it back over to that little half pan because it's smaller and it fits in my freezer. I'm going to chill the meat back down just to make sure it doesn't mess up the grinder and it runs through really easily. Now, I'm Italian and I've been eating sausage my whole life, so I can tell you the seasonings in the inside are absolutely what take the flavor from here all the way up here. Now, you will see some nuances with the banger, whether it's in Britain or even Ireland. You're going to see that you're going to have some savory spices like nutmeg and mace. But in Ireland, you may see some additional spices or actually herbs such as rosemary, thyme. Now, I'm going to go that route because I think it just provides so much more flavor. But the problem is I couldn't get ground rosemary or thyme, so I'm going to have to run it through the grinder. Of course, you could use a mortar and pestle. We're going to start off with 2 teaspoons of garlic granules, 1 tablespoon of onion granules, 2 teaspoons of nutmeg,
1 teaspoon of mace. Next, we're going to add in 2 teaspoons of black pepper, 3 tablespoons of salt. I know that seems like a lot. I'm using kosher salt here. Next, we're going to add in 1 teaspoon of rosemary leaves, 1 teaspoon of sage leaves, and 1 teaspoon of thyme leaves. Now add the top and then grind away. I like this to become a fine powder so that it mixes right into our sausage meat. If you have big rosemary leaves, it's not going to be able to blend through. Those flavors aren't going to be able to get through. When it turns into a powder like this is the perfect way to get all those flavors going. We're just going to set it to the side in a bowl until we're ready to use it. Okay, ready to go to that next stage and grind the meat down again. I'm just going to give this a quick rinse and then add that small die on there. Give it a quick little twist just to tighten everything up. All right, the meat is chilled up again. It's been in there for about 10 or 15 minutes while I made that spice blend. I'm just going to add a handful at a time, again on low speed, and just push it through. You can see that the sausage is now really finely ground. This is absolutely perfect. Seriously, this is the exact stage. This is exactly how I remember it as well. Press everything down until it comes out. And this part, again, is going to be a little bit shorter, but still going to take 20 to 25 minutes to push through. And gosh, I remember this trick out of nowhere. If you want to clean the grinder, take about a 2-foot piece of plastic wrap and just put it in there. It kind of forces everything up to that die. It doesn't clean out perfectly, but it gets any loose meat in there, and then just rinse it and clean it and you're good. Now I'm going to grab the ground meat, and at this point what we want to do is take the homemade spice blend that we made up, and we're just going to sprinkle it all over the top.
Oh my gosh, I cannot believe I remember this. This is huge. One time, a long time ago, I visited a hot dog plant, and I saw the grinder with all the meat, and I kept hearing ksh, ksh, ksh. And I asked the guy, I'm like, what is that noise? And he said it is shaved ice. It helps bring moisture to the hot dog. Think when it's encased and it's got extra moisture in there, makes it that much more tender and juicy. I am so glad I remembered this because we are going to pound up some ice. We're going to add it to the mix. It's going to make it hopefully really juicy. Here's what we're going to do.
Plainly as possible, I'm going to start with 2 cups of ice cubes. I'm just going to put them in a plastic bag, grab the old trusty mallet, and mash everything down. I'm trying to get this to, I don't know, about the size of a 1/4 to a 1/2 inch little pieces, like shaved ice, like you're eating a snow cone. Then once I've got it, I'm just going to dump it on the top. I really think this is going to add a lot of moisture. I remember seeing it. I know it should work. Now I'm going to add in 1 cup of breadcrumbs. Now, if you can find those French-style breadcrumbs that are a little bit bigger, I think that will actually make it a little bit more authentic. But if you have smaller ones, it's going to be fine. You're going to be okay. Now at this point, I'm just going to mix everything together until it is completely combined. So I want to know how this tastes. Do I need more seasoning? I'm going to take a little piece off here, go over to a frying pan. I've got a little bit of oil in there. I'm just going to fry it maybe 30 to 45 seconds over medium to high heat. Just want to get a little brown. I'll make sure it's obviously cooked through before I give it a shot. And I know it's going to be hot, but it doesn't matter. I need to make sure the seasonings are right. And dang, I'm telling you what, this is really good. Nothing needs to be changed. This seasoning blend is perfect. And now at this point, I have to stuff everything up. I'm telling you what, I've invested like 2 to 2.5 hours already between chilling meat, grinding meat, making the spices, all that stuff. So I'm going to put on that attachment that allows us to stuff everything up. We're going to take one of the hog casings. Again, it's like 3 feet long, so you're going to only be able to do this in segments. With about 6 inches left at the back, I know I need to tie little knots so it obviously catches all of the filling meat while I do that. I'm going to start with a small handful, just like I did the other time, and run it through the grinder using that pestle. And this part is probably the hardest part because you have to pay such close attention. You don't want to go too fast. You don't want to go too slow. You push down the meat with one hand with the pestle and you catch it in the other hand. And if it gets a little skinny, like I know I need to stop it and let more meat go into that section, sort of fluff everything up, literally like you're stuffing up a pillow until it gets nice and full. And then at the end, I have to stop it because I need to tie a little knot to sort of secure all the sausage. And at this point, like, I'm still just so amazed. Like, I made sausage. This is crazy, right? Now, this part, I definitely remember being the easiest. All you need to do is twist it. And you can do that every 5 to 6 inches. You can make these as small or as long as you want. I know that in bangers and mash, it's a little bit smaller size sausage, around that 5-inch mark. So that's exactly where I'm going to tie it off at.
First off, I'd like to thank my mom for always believing in me and all the chefs that helped me along the way. All right, just kidding. But seriously, making homemade sausage is a beast. It's not hard to do, but it is absolutely a time labor of love. This thing takes commitment. And no joke, I wasn't kidding. I haven't done it in over 15 years. The last time I did it, it was at the University Club when I went back to school at the University of Missouri, worked for one of my all-time favorite chefs, Daniel Pliska. This guy is just one of those people who forgot more about cooking than I could ever hope to know in a lifetime. At that place, we did so many crazy things. We would do pâtés, a bunch of in-case meats, and crews, just so dang tasty. And that's the last time I've done it, until now, of course. But this recipe has a little bit more. We said bangers and mash. We have sauce, we have mashed potatoes we need to prep up. Let's get to that.
I have 2 medium-sized yellow onions. You could use white or even sweets. We're going to slice off the end, slice it in half, and then remove that outside peel. We want to julienne those, which means thinly sliced. After about 3/4 in, I usually give it a quick tilt to help stabilize it so it's not rocking. Once it's sliced, set it to the side. And believe it or not, I cannot find my garlic press. Dang it. So we're going to smash some garlic cloves, 2 of them actually, and finely mince. And now for the potatoes. The classic potato would be a rooster, which you really can't get here in the USA, but you can accomplish similar flavors using russet and Yukons. I'm going to be using 2 pounds of russets and 2 pounds of Yukons. So what we want to do at this point is just peel them, and then I slice them in half, and then I thinly slice them. Now I do this for a reason, because it will cook much quicker. I add potatoes to boiling water. I don't start it cold and bring it to a boil. It takes too long. We're going to hold them in cold water so they don't turn color.
Okay, all of the prep is finished, and this is going to move super, super fast. We want everything to be finished at the same time and hot. The sausage, the sauce, the mashed potatoes. We want it to come together. Hold on and pay close attention. Here we go.
Let's head over to a large rondeau pot or a large frying pan. Either is fine. We're going to add in 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter. We're going to crank the heat on to medium. What we want to do now is just sear these sausages. And yes, of course, if you didn't make the sausage and all you have is store-bought, totally fine. You still need to add them at this point. We want to blister them, get a nice brown sear on them. This is going to take maybe 2 minutes on each side. That is it. That's all we're looking for. If they're not cooked all the way through, don't sweat it, because we're going to reheat them in the gravy at the end, and they will absolutely come back up to temperature. Once they are finished cooking, just add them to the side on a plate. This is really hard, though, because you're absolutely going to want to eat these. They smell incredible. Let's go back over to that rondeau pot. We're going to add 2 more tablespoons of unsalted butter. Let's grab those onions that we thinly sliced up. Don't worry about the butter melting. That pan is already hot from cooking those sausages. Add them right in there right after you put in the butter. Now, using tongs or spatula, whatever you have, we're just going to mix this together. We want to sear these onions. It's going to take in between 7 and 8 minutes. Get a nice golden brown on them. In the meantime, though, again, this is all about timing. We're going to add a 1/2 cup of whole milk to a small pot and 1 stick of unsalted butter, going over to a cooktop over low heat. This is going for our mashed potatoes. Back to the onions. This part, I totally forgot to show adding in my garlic. That's my fault for not pressing record. Thanks, camera. We are going to mix that in, only going to take about 30 seconds or so. Let's deglaze with a 1/4 cup of Cabernet Sauvignon. It will absolutely go into those onions within 30 seconds. We're next going to add in 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. We want to make a roux. Now, we are going to add in 3 total cups of good beef stock. Make sure you do this. While it is cooking down, let's go over to a large pot of boiling salted water. Let's add our drained potatoes right in there. They only take 5 to 6 minutes to cook. That's why I thinly slice them. This is perfect timing, though, because we can finish these up while our gravy cooks down. We're going to add them right to a food mill. Yes, you can use a hand masher. No problem. You know me. I'm extra. Grind down on that food mill. Everything will be very, very smooth at the end. Let's go grab our butter and milk. Make sure it's melted and heated up. Pour it right in there. Now, season it well with salt and then a little bit of ground white pepper. I like to do this to sort of keep the potatoes nice and perfect color. Then mix everything together with a rubber spatula. Give it a taste. You may need a little more salt and pepper. Remember, season once, taste twice. Okay, back over to the gravy. See, remember what I told you? It's all about timing here. This looks perfect, nice and thick. What we're going to do is add 1 tablespoon of balsamic vinegar. Going to add some awesome flavor. We're going to hit it with a dash of Worcestershire sauce and then season it with salt and fresh cracked black pepper. Of course, give it a taste as well. This needs to be extremely flavorful. Let's grab our sausage. Let's add them right back in the pot. Again, we're going to heat them up. It's only going to take about 2 minutes. Timing is perfect.
I say it all the time. If you understand and put into practice fundamental basic cooking techniques, it'll absolutely elevate your everyday cooking. Everything you make is going to be so delicious. And I cannot believe, no joke, that I remembered how to make sausage. It's been forever. The memories that came back, so awesome. Flavor is so good. It's very, very easy to plate up. Here's what we want to do.
When it comes to serving mashed potatoes, give it a little flip of the wrist and we'll go right on the plate. We're going to add 2 bangers to this goodness. Pour on a bunch of gravy and then hit it with a little fresh chopped parsley.
Now, if you thought this recipe was crazy, you absolutely have to check out my homemade corned beef. We're talking homemade brine, cooked, done, so dang delicious. We'll see you on there. Let's get in this. That's good.